Alhamdulillah, we are in the month of Ramadan al-Mubarak, this great, blessed guest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we are so fortunate and so lucky, brothers and sisters, that Allah has given us as Muslims a month like this, that we can go through spiritual service, if you may, a spiritual spring cleaning, a spiritual update. We are always upgrading and updating, and our systems are always updating with latest software. Likewise, as human beings, when we go through the life of this world and the routines of day-to-day things, it's only natural that rust settles on our heart. We become a little bit neglectful. We get lost in the things of this world, and we tend to forget our real purpose in life and our objective of preparing for the day we will meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Ramadan is that time of the month or that time of the year which comes and gives us a bit of a wake-up call, a bit of a breather, to make us understand, look, we are on a journey, and a wise person really is the one who is aware that he is on this journey, because knowing that you are on a journey means that you are preparing for it. And being on a journey and being unaware that we are on a journey spells heartache, spells destruction, spells calamity, that the person is not prepared adequately for this journey. So Alhamdulillah, we thank Allah again for giving us this month of Ramadan al-Mubarak. So He allows us to get into this mode and get into this understanding of our lives and rechecking ourselves, inshallah. Part of this, brothers and sisters, is this whole series that we are busy with. And just to put everybody into the picture again, we are doing a study of a book which is written in the 4th century of Islam by Hafiz ibn Hibban, rahimahullah ta'ala, who was a great scholar of Islam. He wrote many books, and in fact, every single one of his books, if not all of them, have been written in more than 5 volumes, 10 volumes, 20 volumes. Some books go up to. He's written on hadith, he's written on Arabic grammar, he's written on fiqh, he's written on akhlaq, he's written on every subject. And this book particularly is of real interest, subhanallah, where he writes about 50 principles of who are the intelligent people in this world. And of course, this intelligence is not based on the intelligence of IQ or the intelligence of rational thought or things like this. No, this intelligence is based on the intelligence of the Quran and the Hadith, the intelligence which Allah refers to, أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ, that don't you have sense, don't you have good judgment. This intelligence does not require a degree, it does not require study, it just requires a thoughtful heart and a reflective mind and iman. And if a person has these things, then inshallah they would have this understanding of what is it that I should be doing, how is it that I can have a successful life in this world, in the hereafter, and in the qabr as well. So we have completed 2 principles already. The first chapter was regarding what is aqal and what is intelligence and all of those kind of things. Chapter 1 or principle 1 went into the first aspect, which is to do with the heart of a mu'min, that everything starts from there. It starts with the intention, it starts with the taqwa, it starts with the ikhlas, it starts with the search for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It starts with that. Once that is right, everything else falls into place. Then chapter 2 or principle 2 once that is in place, a person's direction and qibla and focus is right, The second thing that person needs in life is knowledge, is education and knowledge. Knowledge of Quran, knowledge of Hadith, spiritual knowledge. Knowledge of what is right, what is wrong, what is halal, what is haram, what they should do, what they shouldn't do. And that was regarding the encouragement towards engaging with knowledge and having and being a lifetime learner. Being a lifetime learner. That was the whole, the crux of that lesson, that learning and knowledge for us is a journey as well, and it's not a destination. It's to shape the mind, it is to create a mindset, it is to develop a person's akhlaq, a person's outlook in life. And that happens continuously. It happens on a day-to-day basis as a person learns new things, as a person progresses and attends different lectures and reads different books and listens to different tafsirs and reads the Quran more and listens to the Hadith more and thinks about it. That understanding comes, that the shaping of the mind and the mindset comes. So that is the second principle Hafiz ibn Hibban places in terms of his hierarchy of who is an intelligent person and what are the principles required to be part of that category of intelligent people in life. The third principle, which is our discussion today, is he says that after these first two principles, a person works on them. The third principle in this hierarchy goes to the tongue and understanding the place and position of speech and the usage of the tongue in Islam or in life. And it's towards the encouragement. The heading of the subject is the encouragement towards silence and measured speech. Now, as always, mashallah, Hafiz ibn Hibban starts with a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he quotes, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليكن خيرا أو ليسكت. That the one who believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the hereafter. See, the connection Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is making is with Iman. The one who has Iman in Allah and the one who believes in the last day. What is the quality of that person? It's not praying, it's not fasting, it's not Hajj, it's not Zakat, it's not Nafil Sadaqah. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the one who believes in Allah and the one who believes in the last day, فَلْيَقُلْ خَيْرًا أَوْ لِيَسْكُتْ. That person should make a habit of speaking good things. Otherwise, أَوْ لِيَسْكُتْ. If there's nothing good, nothing positive, nothing constructive to say, to speak, then أَوْ لِيَسْكُتْ. They should remain silent. This is a quality of a believer. It is a sign of a believer. The believer only speaks when there is a need to speak, when there is something beneficial to say. If there isn't anything to speak, then silence is golden. Silence is golden. And this, brothers and sisters, it's just an important point to bring out really in our age and time, Our age and time is a time of information overload where, everyone seems to know something on every topic. And the Google, mashallah, is there, our Mufti Sheikh Google, which is ready to provide, information and points on every such thing. You can basically try to find a diagnosis of whatever you're feeling, you can try to find a diagnosis of that online as well. Whenever I visit my doctor and, we are speaking, and if it just has to slip out looking online that, this, could it be this, could it be that? They get very upset. They said, please, Sheikh, stop reading those things, You can't diagnose yourself by reading on a website what is written there. That's not possible. So this is that age, brothers and sisters, the age of information overload, where everyone almost feels compelled to have an opinion or a comment on something, and we feel it awkward. The media and general society portrays silence to be awkward. Silence is awkward. So someone has to be speaking at some time, or all the time. And just being silent or just being thoughtful is not part of Western culture generally. Western culture generally. And sometimes we are, as Muslims as well, fall into the same culture that is around us. So it's good and it's healthy, and these reminders are there for us to remind us what is the teachings of Islam regarding these aspects. And this hadith which is presented to us is a beautiful hadith in that sense, that man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir, the one who believes in Allah and the last day. The quality and attribute and characteristic of such a person should be فَلْيَقُلْ خَيْرًا أَوْ لِيَسْكُتْ. Their habit should be, their habit and routine in life, a principle in their life should be, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, make a habit of speaking only positive things, good things, beneficial things. أَوْ لِيَسْكُتْ. If you don't have anything to say good, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, oh, in that case, remain silent. There's no need to speak. There's no need to open your mouth. There's no need to utter anything. This is the teaching of the hadith regarding this aspect. So in today's discussion, I would like to discuss three elements of this principle. One is the impact of the tongue, and number two is the wisdoms of using the tongue well. Number three is the actual instructions of Hafiz ibn Hibban when it comes to using the words and talking. It comes in terms of the instructions which he gives, and number four, the warnings. And we are now moving on to the next slide, inshallah. So the impact of the spoken word, Allahu Akbar, brothers and sisters, Hafiz ibn Hibban brings a point and he says, Ja'alallahu likulli shay'in baban. Allah has given everything two doors, two entry points and two exits. Everything has a front door and a back door, two doors, except when it comes to the tongue. And this is a thoughtful thing, really. He says, Allah has given it four gates, four traps to keep it under control, to keep it in place. And what is this? Shafatain misra'ain wal asnan misra'ain. Two sets of, or rather a set of teeth, one on top and one at the bottom, and a set of lips, one at the bottom, one at the top, and one at the bottom. Two or four gates and four cages around just the tongue. Everything else has two. Everything else you want to see is a pair of two. But when it comes to the tongue, and this is a thoughtful thing, that this tongue is a very, 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 very powerful thing. Subhanallah. Hajmuhu saghir wa jurmuhu kabir. Its size in relation to its impact, its size is small, it's meager, it's insignificant as compared to the rest of the body, as compared to the punch, as compared to the muscles, as compared to the mind, as compared to the heart, as compared to all other limbs. It's very small in size, but its impact is the greatest. Its impact is the greatest. In fact, it holds the keys to Jannah and it holds the keys to Jahannam. Allahu Akbar. The tongue holds the keys to Jannah and holds the keys to Jahannam. It is with the tongue that you say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, and now you qualify yourself to enter Jannah. And with the same tongue, you can say the words of kufr and shirk, and that qualifies you for Jahannam. Allahu Akbar. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is mentioned in a hadith that a person does good actions their whole life, and then they utter a statement with their tongue, La yalqi biha balan. They don't give it a second thought. It's just something that comes out of their tongue, and they were speaking, making a joke, discussing, and they were having some conversation, and it rolled off and it went, and they forgot about it. La yulqi biha balan. They don't even give a second thought to it, Rasulullah said. But the effect and it's so potent of the statement that they have made, that it will be a cause of them to be thrown into Jahannam, the distance of 70 trenches. The distance of 70 trenches, they will be thrown into Jahannam. Allahu Akbar, Allah protect us. This is that tongue, brothers and sisters. It holds the keys to peace and turmoil. Now, mashallah, brothers and sisters who are married know this better than anybody else. That tongue, if it's not, used in the right way, just when discussing and speaking to our spouses, sometimes it can become, sometimes out of a joke, or the spouse intends to say something lightheartedly, but without thinking, it just comes out, and the effect of that, instead of it being the intended effect of, being a joke or being something, lighthearted, it becomes a problem. And it can lead to an argument, it can lead to angry words, and it can lead to a bad mood. And this is that aspect, and that is in our own homes. It is tongues that have started wars. It is words that have started wars. It has started world wars. And it is tongues also that have brought peace and have mended hearts. Allahu Akbar. The tongue, on a lighter note, one of my students has got a habit, one of the younger students, he got a habit of pulling tongue, and they call it the raspberry, pulling tongue at the other students. So they're always complaining about him. So I called him, I said, look, my son, this tongue of yours, Allah has created for you to make the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for you to taste food. He didn't create you and he said, I'm going to put this tongue into this child, and this tongue is for you to, pull tongue at others. So this is just for us to understand that what impact the tongue can have. It can mend hearts and it can break a family. Allahu Akbar. It is that same tongue, brothers and sisters. Just think about this. The two strangers who are haram, they cannot look at each other, they cannot sit with each other, they cannot talk to each other, they cannot have relations with each other. Anything that they do outside normally as strangers will be haram and will be counted as zina and adultery. But when the one says, will you marry me, ijab, that the proposal is done, and the other one says, qabiltu, I have accepted. Two words from the tongue. In a matter of 2 minutes, 1 minute, these two people become the closest partners of life. Allahu Akbar. Where they will share their lives together for 50, 60, 70 years. And that same tongue can be a cause of that same union and that same partnership. By the utterance of one word only, it can dissolve and break down the whole marriage and the whole family structure. Allahu Akbar. By uttering the word talaq or divorce. Just the tongue. Allahu Akbar. Calamities, brothers and sisters, are tied to tongues. I just wanted to quote to you a beautiful, passage of Hafiz ibn Hibban's book. He says, وَالرُّجُوعُ مِنَ الصَّمْتِ أَحْسَنُ مِنَ الرُّجُوعِ عَنِ الْكَلَامِ. To retract what you haven't said, to change your mind on what you haven't said, is easier to retract and recall the spoken word. It's easier to change your mind or to change your opinion on something that you haven't spoken about than to recall and retract something that you have already commented about. Once you have said something, and Allah, brothers and sisters, this is always the case when we are having long conversations on the phone, and we are visiting each other, and we are just talking and passing time, And then these things come up when others, we start discussing other people, we start discussing, commenting on things that have no direct, connection with us, does not impact us. La ya'ni. What does la ya'ni mean? La ya'ni means useless things, things that don't impact us directly. But we are talking about these things and we are passing time, passing time, killing time, as they say. So in Islam, really, there's nothing like killing time. Yes, to be sociable, to visit each other is part of Islam. And we should, if someone invites us, it's a right of a mu'min to accept the invitation. To go have a meal with somebody, have people over to our house, have a meal with them, and enjoy each other's company, ask each other, how are you, how's work, how's the family, find out about the well-being of each other, see if we can be of assistance to each other. And this is part of deen and part of Islam, and holds the muhabba of the community together. But that's where it has to stop. Where it becomes a problem is when we start going beyond this. Now we start stretching out our meetings, and we start stretching out our gatherings to just passing time and killing time. Now, killing time in Islam, again, there's no concept like this in Islam. There's a saying which says, as-sayfu, al-waqtu kas-sayf. The time is like a sword. In lam taqta'ahu qata'ak. If you don't make use of time, if you don't cut the time, if you don't cut it by using it, taqta'ahu. In lam taqta'ahu qata'ak. It will cut you. It will kill you. So there's no killing time in that sense. Either you use time, or either time is killing you and your life is going by you, and you are basically, in those moments of futile talk, of idle talk, things are spoken, things are said, which we regret afterwards. And this is what Sheikh speaking about. It's easier to retract a thought than to retract the spoken word. Allahu Akbar. He says silence is like the sleeping of the mind. That when a person is silent, the mind is sleeping, is calm. But when a person is speaking, is now the activation of that mind. And then he goes on further to say silence brings peace with it. Silence attracts sociability and dignity. Allahu Akbar. وَالصَّمْتُ يَكْسِبُ الْمَحَبَّةَ وَالْوَقَارِ. He says silence and choosing to not speak too much and speak nonsensical things attracts sociability. People like to sit with someone who doesn't speak too much, who doesn't want to be the center of attraction all the time, or the center of attention all the time. Why? Because they feel comfortable with such a person. That this person is easygoing. And Sheikh speaks about this. Yaksibul mahabba. It attracts muhabba, and it attracts, it creates waqar and dignity in a person. When a person speaks too much, the respectability of that person is actually decreased. When a person speaks too much, as they say, bakwas or nonsensical talk, or just commenting and discussing everything, the respectability of that person is lowered. Then the last point on the slide you see, and this is an amazing point he brings. He says a person is judged. We judge each other as humans. We recognize each other on a personal level through not how we look, or not through anything else, but through our thoughts and our manners. Two things. We judge each other on our thoughts and our manners. We judge each other on our thoughts and our manners. And the tongue is the window to the mind. The tongue is the window to the mind. So as soon as we open our mouths up, as soon as we start talking, we are now giving people around us an opportunity to look into our minds, to look into our hearts. And this is where, we are basically presenting ourselves to people and putting our hearts on our sleeve. And an intelligent person, that's why he brought this as the principle number 3. An intelligent person is someone who basically measures his thoughts and understands that the words I say are impactful and they have effect, and they have a consequence to it, and they are not just words which are being uttered, and I will be held liable to this. He goes on to speak about the relationship of the tongue to the body. Allahu Akbar. He says, جعل الله عز وجل جارحة اللسان على سائر الجوارح. Allah has raised the position of the tongue over the position of the remaining parts of the body. Now you might wonder and ask, what does this mean? Why does it mean that Allah has raised the position of the tongue over the position of the rest of the body? He goes on to say, فَلَيْسَ مِنْهَا شَيْءٌ أَعْظَمَ أَجْرًا مِنْهُ إِذَا أَطَاعَ, because there is nothing greater through which we can get reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when it obeys Allah, and there is nothing more problematic that can create more sins in our life and more destruction in our life when that same tongue is disobedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why it has the highest position of all the body parts. And there's a hadith to support this hadith, that every morning Rasulullah says, in the morning, all the body parts, of course we can't see it, but this is in that realm, the spiritual realm, they turn their attention to the tongue, and they tell the tongue, for Allah's sake, in istaqamta istaqamna, wa in wajajta i'wajadna. That's a hadith sahih. For Allah's sake, if you remain straight today, we will all be safe and we will all be in place, in order. And if you are crooked today, then we will all be crooked. Meaning to say, whatever you do today, if you do good, we will receive the good of that. And if you cause it today, and if you say the wrong thing and you do the wrong thing and you talk without thinking and you just blab or talk unnecessarily, then it's going to lead you to problems, and we are just going to be following behind you. We have no choice in this because you have that position, and so please keep yourself straight. And also, we always hear this when a person is arrested. It's they when they handcuff, they say everything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. Meaning to say, whatever has happened till now, you can stand in front of the judge and you can present your case as you want. But now, from whatever you say from this point onwards, now there are witnesses here, and this, whatever you say, will be used against you in the court of law. Meaning, be very careful about what you say. Be careful about what you say. Now, Muslim brothers and sisters understands this not in this dunya court of law, but understands that this can be used, every word that I speak, every utterance that comes out of my mouth will be used for me or against me in the court of Allah on the day of Qiyamah. It will all be brought. Allah says in Surah Al-Qaf, مَا يَلْفِظُ مِنْ قَوْلٍ إِلَّا لَدَيْهِ رَقِيبٌ عَتِيدٌ. There is no speech that is uttered إِلَّا لَدَيْهِ رَقِيبٌ عَتِيدٌ, except that there is a watchful being there recording what has been said. So this is that aspect as a Muslim. Wallahi al-Azim, brothers and sisters, if these concepts, we can break it down to our children early in life, for them to be thoughtful, they will save themselves from so much heartache, from so much bullying, from so much, getting into trouble at school, from so much, having problems with their brothers and sisters, because a child doesn't have those filters. A child expresses whatever is in the heart and just blabs it out. But that is something, if we can, inshallah, guide our children on, we will be teaching them something great and giving them, a tool with which they will only be going higher and higher in life and getting more and more success, inshallah. He goes on to give a beautiful poem in terms of regretting the pronouncements which are said. He says, لا تقل قول ثم تتبعه يا ليتني يا ليت ما كنت قلت لم أقل. That don't say something and then you say, oh, if only I wouldn't have said that. يا ليت ما كنت قلت لم أقل. And how often that happens to us, brothers and sisters? We are more often regretting what we said than regretting what we should have said. We are more often regretting what we said than regretting what we should have said. May Allah grant us the understanding of this, that فَلْيَقُلْ خَيْرًا أَوْ لِيَسْكُتْ. At every point, at every time, if I'm speaking to my wife, I'm speaking to my children, even if it means I'm reprimanding my children, or I'm teaching them, I must measure my words. I must, wallahi al-azim, brothers and sisters, anger is from shaitan. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, al-ghadabu min ash-shaytan, it is from shaitan. And at time of anger is at the time when a person should be the most careful. Anger is natural. Remember, anger is a natural human emotion. If a person doesn't get angry, then perhaps, they're not human. Getting angry is normal, is natural, is a natural human emotion. But when a Muslim gets angry, doesn't lose or tries not to lose his senses and is careful of what he is uttering, what he is saying to those around him, and in regards to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. Sheikh finishes this section with a beautiful statement also. He says, Al-Afiyah fi al-Afiyatu asharatu ajza. Afiyah, now, how could we translate Afiyah? Afiyah is an Arabic word which has so many things in it. Afiyah is safety. Afiyah is prosperity. Afiyah is success. Afiyah is happiness. Afiyah is protection. Afiyah is peace. Afiyah is no worries. Afiyah is everything, subhanallah. Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-afwa wal-afiyah. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to make this dua. Afiyah is so many things in this one word. There's so many things in there. So he quotes Abi Sa'id Ka'b radiyallahu anhu saying, Al-afiyatu asharatu ajza. Afiyah is 10 parts. Tis'atu minha fi sukut. 9 of those 10 parts is in remaining silent. 9 out of those 10 parts. If afiyah was 10 parts, if protection, peace, happiness, success, prosperity, wealth, goodness, health, afiyah, if it was 10 parts, 9 parts of those 10 are in silence. Allahu Akbar. Just appreciate this, brothers and sisters, for this. Just let that one, sink in. Subhanallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us understand that sometimes speaking too soon is a cause for us losing favors, losing the ni'mats of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. How many times when it comes as well, a person missed out on opportunity, whether it's a promotion, a job opportunity, some opportunity at home, something, because a person spoke too soon. And as I said earlier, we regret more what we have spoken than we regret what we did not say. Let us move, inshallah, on to the wisdoms of silence and choosing to have measured speech. Now, wisdom, brothers and sisters, wisdom, hikmah, wisdom and hikmah. When we think of wisdom, when we think of a wise man, You know, the media likes to portray a wise man like an elderly person, an old person with white hair and, you know, living somewhere in the mountains, a monk. But really, wisdom is this aql. Wisdom is aql. This whole discussion that we are having is wisdom. And wisdom comes in different shapes and sizes. And Hafiz ibn Hibban mentions in the first point on this aspect, he says silence is one expression of wisdom. Silence is one expression of wisdom. If we can learn to be silent and we learn to control our speech, control what we are speaking and not speaking unnecessary things, speaking on things we don't have full knowledge about. He says, you are a wise person. You are wise. If you see someone speaking less, that person is wise. And again, culture, the way they depict it, you know, if someone doesn't speak, you know, let's say, oh, this person doesn't know anything, or this person, you know, is, you know, they don't have anything to say, or, you know, they ignorant or whatever. But it's always better and safer for a person to be labeled as someone who doesn't know something than to be someone who is regarded to know things but is then expected to give opinions and say things, and then we are held responsible for what we say. But in actual fact, silence, Islamically, to remain silent, if you see somebody not speaking much, if you see somebody speaking only when there is a need to speak, then know that that person is a wise man, wise woman. They are wise people. They know, they have understanding. He says, eloquence is in being brief. Eloquence is being brief. That al-balaghatu fil qalili takunu. That when you are brief, this is eloquence. And he says, everything normally, and this is amazing point as well, subhanallah, he says, normally, for everything, if you have extra, it's good. If you have extra, if you have more, you have leftover, it's good. Except talking. Less is more. When it comes to talking, less is more. Everything else, the more you have, the better. But when it comes to talking, the less, in terms of talking, less is more. Allahu Akbar. He says wisdom is to be one of two categories. If you are in any social gathering, be of one of two people. Either be the person who's knowledgeable on the subject matter that you are speaking about, or silently observe. There's no third group. There's no third group. You can't be someone who does not know on the subject matter and is commenting on the subject matter and is voicing opinions on the subject matter, whatever it might be. There's no third group, because once you open that door and once you open yourself for that, you are now opening yourself to be the butt of criticisms and the point of reference and criticisms. And this brings us to the instructions. Shaykh has given certain instructions for us to follow of how we can adopt good practices in our life of using the tongue well. The first point he brings, he said, remember, your words are a point of reference. What you say, it will say, yes, so and so said it. Mommy said it, daddy said it. Our children will also, use that. Yes, mom said it, dad said it. You can do it because mom said it. You can't do it because dad said it. Whatever we say is a point of reference. And we are, as we say, we will be held accountable in the court of law and in sociable, you can't say, brothers and sisters, we can't say, no, I was just saying it. I was just saying it. Saying it, our word is like our promise. A Muslim's word is very weighty. a Muslim's word is very weighty. And subhanallah, I might mention this point now. It comes later, but I'll just mention it here. I won't mention it later. It comes under the warnings. Sheikh Hafiz ibn Hibban brings this point. He says that one of the dangers of speaking unnecessarily and commenting on every post, or commenting on everything, saying something, or speaking unnecessarily, makes a person unreliable. This is from the hadith. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, the hadith supports this understanding. He says, "Kafa bil mar'i kadiban." It is enough to label a person a liar. It is enough to call a person a liar, and yuhaddith bi kulli ma sami'a. That person narrates whatever they hear. Whatever they hear, they narrate it. I heard this, I pass it on. I heard that, I pass it on. I heard this, I pass it on. So I make a habit. In the week, I've got 3-4 friends. I call them every week, 2-3 times. I mean, I've got one set day, and I'll sit 1 hour, half hour, 20 minutes, catch up on gossip, share what I heard somebody else tell me. Now, what I heard from them, I call the next person and pass that information on. Take new information from that person, speak to the next person, pass that information on. Rasulullah is saying it is enough for us to be counted as liars if we narrate and we communicate everything that we hear, because we don't know. You're not verifying, you're not checking, you're not confirming if it's true, if it's not true. Even if it's true, is it something that should be mentioned? Is it something that is it part of riba? Is it part of backbiting? Is it part of carrying tales? Is it part of namima? Is it part of bragging? Is it part of showing off? Is it encouraged in Islam to mention this? Will it bring people's hearts together? Will it break people's hearts? Allahu Akbar. And this aspect of joining people's hearts and breaking people's hearts is also to do with the tongue. Just remember, just understand this also. Rasulullah said, if there is a permission to lie, it will be for that person who is, trying to bring two people together. There is permission to fib and do a white lie, if you want to call it a white lie. Rasulullah has given, if there is a permission to lie, you can lie to bring two people together. And this is also in terms of the impact of the tongue. That how impactful is the tongue, that just by our words, people's relationships are soured and broken. Just by us, speaking to one friend, and you said, oh, yeah, I told so-and-so, I told Fatima that I was going to come and see you today, and then she just rolled her eyes, and then we carry on speaking. Just mentioning that in talking, now we have planted poison in the heart of this person, our second friend for Fatima. Oh, why did Fatima roll her eyes when she said that she was going to come and talk to me? Now we have created ill feeling, we have created hatred, we have created enmity, just by that one statement. Allahu Akbar. One statement, brothers and sisters. How much, and that also it could be the other way around, where if there is anger and hatred and enmity, just to mention, oh, I was speaking to Fatima yesterday, and we were speaking, and I was mentioning to her, mashallah, about you. And she said, yeah, she didn't see you for a long time. She was thinking about you, and she was making dua for you as well. Or something else, whatever, some praise or something, even if that wasn't said. But that one word then creates muhabba, creates a good perception in the heart of that person, and we have done a good deed. We have brought two people closer together. This is that aspect of the power of speech, and not just narrating everything that we hear. So Hafiz ibn Hibban brings a few uses of the tongue. He says, if you want to use the tongue, these are some aspects. It's not only these, but these are some of them. Number one, to express yourself. Number two, to answer questions. If somebody asks you something, to answer the questions. Number three, if there's a decision to be made, we make that decision. Number four, if there's an intercession to do, intercede. If you want to explain and describe something, you describe it. To clear up misunderstandings. So if there's a misunderstanding and people are feeling bad, you speak and you clear up those misunderstandings. Communicate. To generate good feelings, affectionate feelings, speaking nicely to your spouse, sharing a good word with them, sharing, affectionate words, compassionate words, so which can create muhabba and love and closeness, using good words for them, good nicknames. This is all part of that. Out in the community, meeting brothers, meeting your people at the masjid, speaking nicely to them there. This also is for that. Asking questions to increase understanding, to remove grief. These are some of the things which he says. Now, of course, speech is not only in these, but the point is that we should be very objective, brothers and sisters. The point he's making is be objective with what we speak and when we speak and how much we speak. With what we speak, when we speak, and how much we speak. Be aware of our habits. Be aware of what we're saying. And in this is understanding, is aql, is protection, is afiyah. For dunya, qabr and akhirah. Even in our businesses, even if in our workplaces, the less we speak or the more we control our tongues, the more inshallah we will be seen as a person who is responsible, a mature person, somebody who speaks a lot and just as I said, jokes around too much or talks nonsensical things is not respected or is not regarded to be responsible and mature in that sense. And he brings the one aspect to say that it is a secret to a happy life. And hadith of Rasulullah supports this. This hadith is from the Jawami'ul Kalim. Jawami'ul Kalim means those hadith, small words but have massive meaning, encompass large meaning in it. And this hadith is part of them. Mu'adh radiallahu anhu asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "O Rasulullah, man najat?" What is salvation? What is salvation? Look at what a big question he's asking. What is salvation? Salvation also is many things: protection, goodness, prosperity, health, all of those things. He asked, what is najat? What is salvation? Rasulullah told him three things. Amlik alayka lisanak, control your tongue and you will be safe. وَلْيَسَعَكَ بَيْتُكَ, let your home be spacious enough for you. Don't leave your home unnecessarily. Number two. And number three, cry over your sins. These three things: control your tongue, stay indoors, and don't leave your home unnecessarily. And number three, cry over your sins, and you are in salvation. Allahu Akbar. This is that aspect. In terms of his instructions, he goes on and he speaks about even when you are speaking, how you should speak. He says, halt and speak. Don't speak fast and don't speak without thinking. Halt and speak. Speak while you are thinking and speaking. So you are measuring your words and you are measuring, you know what you are saying and you know where you are going with what you are saying. And you understand what you want out of this. And also he brings this point. He says, remember also, comments on everything, talking on everything leads to more talk, more comments. That comments leads to more comments, and there's no end to this. So this is where the encouragement to holding on to silence and measuring our speak comes in, to stop a problem before it becomes a problem. If you're going to say something, your wife is going to answer you, you're going to answer your wife is going to answer you, you're going to answer your wife, and this is going to carry on and escalate and escalate and escalate and escalate. And Allah forbid, it can be the point where, oh, boiling point where a person can say something or do something that they regret for the rest of their lives. So this is that aspect. Know when to keep quiet. Somebody is angry, and this should be the habit of husband and wife generally. If one person is angry, the other one should remain silent at that time and understand that, if I want to express something, I will speak about it later. He also brings this point. He says, don't speak in absolutes. Don't say never, and don't say everything and every time. You can say that for the past, but don't say it for the future. Don't say you will never ever do something, or you will definitely do something. He says, don't speak in absolutes, because you don't know. If you say something that you'll never do, and he brings that kalamu innal balaa muwakkalun bil mantiq, that calamities are tied to our words. When we say we will never do something, that's when we end up having to do it. So don't speak in absolutes. I come to the last slide, brothers and sisters, and this is the warnings. Hafiz ibn Hibban brings this aspect, and these are aspects to do with our spiritual well-being as well. Excessive talking makes one less reflective and more heedless. If you look into the books of hadith, if you look into the books of the ulama and the pious servants of the past, this advice is there all the time. That speaking too much makes the heart hard. Makes the heart hard. Speaking less creates a reflective mind. A person thinks more when you speak less. And when you talk more, you become heedless and you become negligent and unmindful. And a person, and then your words control you. Al-kalimatu idha kharajat malakatka. That when the word comes out, it now controls you. And when it's in your mouth, you control it. As long as it's in your mouth, you are controlling that word. You are controlling the outcome. You are controlling the impact. As soon as it now comes out, now it controls you. You are now subjected. You are now under that word or that comment or that opinion that you have expressed. So excessive talking leads to less reflectiveness and an insensitive heart. As I said, it hardens the heart. Too much laughing, excessive eating, and excessive talking. These three things harden the heart. فَلْيَضْحَكُوا قَلِيلًا وَلْيَبْكُوا كَثِيرًا. Allah says in the Quran, فَلْيَضْحَكُوا, laugh less. Laugh less, and by extension, talk less and eat less. And the heart will stay soft, and a person then the messages of good messages are received well, and a person can practice on those easier, better than when the heart is hard and a person does not accept. When the heart is hard, the messages of good messages, of spiritual messages, do not settle on the mind and the heart well. I've just touched this point of narrating everything, that leads to unreliability as well. Also a point, brothers and sisters, yes, he brings here that when a person talks too much, now when we talk a lot, we need something to say. We need something to say. So now when we're talking a lot, so now when we run out of things, of factual things, of things which are real, of things which are facts, now we need to fill up. Now because we are known, we have to talk. So now we start filling our speech up with stories, with exaggerations, with untruths, or we stretch the truth. And this then again, people then start seeing us for this and start understanding that this person is unreliable. And if they speak, you got to take it with a pinch of salt. So you don't take everything they say literally. So that brings us to the point as well, we mentioned earlier, that eloquence is in being in brief. Eloquence is to be brief and to the point. And in this is our protection as well. And it is it helps in creating trust between us and others as well. He also brings a beautiful point. He says that the tongue should be behind the heart. An aqil, an intelligent person, places his tongue behind his heart. So whatever he wants to say, he passes it through to the heart. He thinks about it, he reflects about it, he thinks about it, and then he expresses. But the fool, he says, keeps the heart on the tongue. What does this mean? He keeps the heart on the tongue, that whatever feeling he has, whatever thoughts he has, without thinking about it, without giving it time, he expresses it on the spur of the moment. He expresses it without controlling, without thinking about it. So see how he brought the heart on two different aspects. I'll just repeat this. He says that the intelligent person keeps the tongue behind the heart. So whatever wants to be said, he first thinks about it, he ponders over it, and then he expresses it. Whereas the fool keeps the tongue, the heart on the tongue. That whatever feeling then enters the heart without, taking any time to process it, to calm down, to balance it out, whether it's an angry thought. And this is the nature of the mind, brothers and sisters. The nature of the mind is very fluid. Thoughts come in and out of our minds all the time. The Sahaba told Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, such thoughts come in our mind that we fear, Ya Nabi Allah, that if those thoughts have to be uttered with our tongue, we will become kafir. That's the kind of thoughts that we get in our mind. We're getting so wicked, so evil thoughts we get in our mind. We are so concerned about it. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "No, my Sahaba, your worry and concern, that in itself is iman. That is a sign that you have iman, that you are worried. That's you okay." Meaning to say that the mind, thoughts come in and out of the mind all the time. But an intelligent person processes those thoughts, allows time for those thoughts to settle and balance out before they express it, and doesn't just express the first thought that comes. And Hafiz ibn Hibban mentions that Allah has made it such that the tongue has telltale signs. That if the tongue is not, if the heart doesn't accept what the tongue is saying, and the rest of the body doesn't accept what the tongue is saying, either if it's a lie or if it's made up or it's something which the rest of the body is not comfortable with, then there's no congruency, as they say. There's telltale signs. The body, the rest of the body, the eyes, the limbs will not support the tongue in what it's saying, and it will show with some breaks in its body, in the body language. The body language will show breaks with what the tongue is saying, and it will not match the message from the tongue. Subhanallah, he mentions this in this, and now there's all of these studies that the body language studies and all of this. So this is this aspect, brothers and sisters, that subhanallah is the third principle mentioned in this great book of Hafiz ibn Hibban. He says that if a person wants to be counted as an intelligent person and they want to get success in their deen, dunya, qabr and akhirah, that person will need to learn the control of their tongue. That will bring success to their relationships, will protect them from problems, it will protect them from difficult situations and calamities, and it will create opportunities for them. Controlling our tongue, we have been speaking a lot about protection, but not only protection, managing ourselves, controlling our tongues, speaking what's necessary, opens up lots of opportunities as well for us, for dunya, and opportunities for akhirah as well, in terms of being able to go do good deeds and things like this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the understanding that this tongue, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the one who gives me the guarantee of what is between his jaws, I give him the guarantee of Jannah. What is between his jaws and his thighs, he gives me the guarantee of do these two things. I give him the guarantee of Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this month of Ramadan make us reflectful and thoughtful people who don't speak for the sake of speaking, but speak only when it's necessary, speak only when it's good, speak only when we have thought through and understood the impact and the consequences of our words that will come after this. Wallahi al-Azim, brothers and sisters, if every brother and sister in our home can think like this, can talk like this, family feuds will be less. Disagreements among brothers and sisters will be less, because it is only, and I conclude on this hadith, that one Sahabi, when he heard this of the impact of the tongue, and he told Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what, so many people in Jahannam because of the tongue? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, it is, yes, listen carefully, he used a statement, it is only or mostly the harvest of the tongue that will be a means and a cause of people falling into the fire of Jahannam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create muhabba in our homes through this tongue. May Allah create muhabba and understanding in our lives through the use of the tongue. May Allah give us the opportunity to use this tongue for the dhikr of Allah, for the recitation of Quran. And may Allah protect us from using this tongue for useless, futile talk, killing time, gossiping, making riba, and speaking unnecessary things which then become a cause of our heartache and destruction. Jazakallahu Khair. And inshallah, if anyone has missed any of the previous lessons, you can find these lessons inshallah on the YouTube channel Nurul Huda Academy inshallah. And please do share it with others as well, so others could benefit inshallah. Jazakumullah Khair. We will continue next week, same time, with the next principle inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.